That's a good ball for Peter Weir. Now Aberdeen with McGee making the break and Hewitt waiting in the middle. Yes!
It's a huge game at Pittodrie tomorrow as Aberdeen welcome flying Hibs to what will hopefully be a packed out crowd who will get behind the Dons tomorrow as we continue our battle to finish in third place. It's the first game of the split. We kick off tomorrow at 3 o'clock. This is what it means. A win will put us level pegging with Hibs. That's how important it is. It's vital that we begin our post-split campaign with a massive 3 points against a team who are 17 unbeaten in the league, which is equaling a post-war record for them. With their management team signing a new 3-year contract with the club, no doubt they will be buoyed, but we will be up for it. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Friday night. Let's not underestimate how huge this game is for us tomorrow. Last week was massive. We got through it. We got to a cup final. Now let's kick on and let's make the next 5 games cup finals as an individual event. I don't want us to underestimate how big this is tomorrow, because if we get a win tomorrow, I think it will put us in a really good place to kick on. We have to build momentum. We need momentum going into the cup final if we've got any hope of beating Celtic come the end of May. Tomorrow, it's huge. Our season starts tomorrow, and by God, I can't wait. Got a bumper show for you tonight. A little bit later, I caught up with renowned football journalist Jonathan Northcroft, who's a huge Dons fan, Sunday Times football correspondent, grew up in Muckles. So Jonathan and I had a catch up about the Dons. He's incredibly excited about a cup final appearance. And we also spoke about the importance of how we gather momentum during the split. So that's going to come up a little bit later. I'm obviously looking for your input tonight, as I always do. So there's no time limit on the show this evening. So we'll just get through as many of your comments as we possibly can. Now, what you will notice tonight is a slightly different structure to the programme. So what I like to do is to start teasing how we're going to start making improvements to the programme with next season already in mind. And I like to use the next 5 weeks, the split games, to do that. So you'll see a slight change, just a little hint of a change here and there, the way that we do things, which I hope will not spoil your viewing pleasure. I hope it enhances it. And I also hope it gives you food for thought, particularly if you are an owner of a rather big business in Aberdeen. Even if you're not the owner of a huge business in Aberdeen, I'm hoping this will give you food for thought anyway. So the first thing that we need to take care of tonight is obviously this huge transfer speculation that has hit the press over the past 48 hours. The manager was today asked about Nicholas Milanovic, who currently plays for Western Sydney Wanderers in the Australian A-League. He's played for Western Sydney since 2023, scoring 16 goals in total. He's got 2 Australian under-23 caps. Now, there are various reports on the fee, but if it is to be believed, we are looking at spending just over £500,000 to bring Nicholas to Pittodrie in what will be a multi-year deal. When asked about that today, the manager respectfully kind of brushed it aside and said he doesn't want to speak about players who are not signed to the football club and speak of other players who are signed to other clubs. But there's the stats for you. He's predominantly a right midfielder, height 185 centimetres. As I said, he's got 12 goals this season, 6 assists, chances created throughout this season at 85%. He's played 1,945 minutes so far this season, starting 20 out of 23 games. And from what I understand, the boy comes with huge pedigree. So what I'm hoping to do is, if we get a little bit more news about that, whether it becomes a permanent signing or it's just idle newspaper gossip, then what we will do is look to get a football expert on from Australia to give us the lowdown on him. So keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. But if reports are to be believed, we have a very exciting prospect on our hands. Right, let's predict the team for tomorrow. Now, I've kind of ummed and ahed about this. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick with the same starting 11 that started against Hearts in the Scottish Cup semi-final. So the manager has spoken again today about the injuries, that Christos Tobers is still not quite ready. Alfie should be fine, so I fully expect him to take his place in the side tomorrow. If there is a last-minute injury worry with him, I expect Jack Milne to go into his place. But I expect the same back four, if everybody is fit, as the same as it was last week. Now, you can argue the toss whether Ude deserves to start in front of Pape, but I still think Pape is such a nuisance that I think he'll do a job. And again, you could argue the fact about Shaden, who didn't have a brilliant game last week starting, whereas Jeppe Ockels came on and actually did well for us last week. So again, you could argue the toss about whether Jeppe Ockels will start in front of Shaden Morris, but I think he'll stick with the same winning formula. So come 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, let's wait and see. So, match stats ahead of the game. So, the last Dons victory over Hibs at Pittodrie came 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. Since then, the sides have met 4 times in Aberdeen, with 2 games ending in draws, and Hibs winning the other 2. In fact, we have won just 1 of our past 9 league meetings with Hibs, which obviously doesn't make for good reading. Hibs are looking to win 3 successive league meetings with Aberdeen for the first time since December 2004. But the Dons have only lost 1 of their past 8 league games and are unbeaten in 5 since losing to Celtic back in February. The referee is David Dickinson. On VAR is Gavin Duncan. Now don't forget that ABTV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. But not just that, they offer a wide range of services to the oil and gas industry, with offices based in Aberdeen, in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. They are there to service everybody. If you want more information about their services and about their products, just drop them a line or check out their website. Right, let's get Jonathan Northcroft on before we get to your points. So as I said, Jonathan and I caught up yesterday, so it's a pre-recorded interview. It's about 10 minutes long. Is it? No, it's not. It's 6 minutes long. And we chatted about the cup final and obviously the importance of how we build momentum during the split with the cup final in mind. So welcome back to ABTV, because it's been a couple of years. Sunday Times football correspondent, Jonathan Northcroft. Hi mate, it's great to see you as always. Thank you so much for jumping on, because I know you're a very busy man. First of all, before we get into sort of league chat, let's talk about getting to another cup final. Just about got there though, mind you.
Just about, yeah. I mean, it was, I guess it was our season in a bit of a microcosm, wasn't it? Taking an early advantage, messing up, and then a real sort of up and down struggle and getting there in the end. But it's a cliche. It doesn't really matter how you win a cup semi-final. They're the worst games of all to lose. You've just got to get through. And I mean, I know Hearts can complain about the second red card, but I mean, my goodness me, as if it wasn't a booking anyway, but as if it really made a difference. It was the story of that game, from certainly the last sort of hour of it, was just us kind of huffing and puffing and knocking on the door and finally getting what was a deserved winner, because Craig Gordon had rolled back the years and made saves. Yeah. I do think we deserve to get there. And I think we deserve it for this season. craziest season ever, but finishing with the roller coaster going back up again.
5 cup finals before that, though. Starting with Hibs on Saturday. I have to be honest, I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but I have to be honest. I think if we don't win this game, I think we're going to struggle to get third. But what I'm hoping is that a great performance, a sellout crowd, 3 points. I think that could really kick us on for the remaining games in the split because it is 5 cup finals, I think.
It is, and if we win, then the next game's St Mirren, and
Yeah,
that's a great opportunity to open up a little gap. I mean, Hibs keep winning, and you keep expecting them to stop winning. I think we're a better team, but they are on a great run. Um, I mean, we have to do it, but what? It's like Rory McIlroy's caddy said to him at the start of the playoff. You'd have taken this at the start of the week. We'd have taken this at the start of the season, going into this phase with a home game that started off in close touch with third place. It's in our hands, isn't it?
yeah.
It's in our hands. I think we've showed resilience in recent weeks to pull out the bad run. Obviously, Rangers was disappointing to let that one slip, but we showed resilience to get through that game against Hearts. We've got players coming back from injury. I think Paul Vara made a big difference. You can see what he brings when he came on at Hampden. We've got a bit of a wild card in Ori Daba. Defence worries me, but I do think we're a better team than Hibs, and if we can harness Pittodrie, there can't be any excuses.
All I ask for, which I think, and we've spoken about this so many times on the show, Jonathan, is we just want a 90-minute performance. I don't understand for the life of me why we can't have a 90-minute performance. That for me, that's the story of our season. It's fits and starts. It's here and there. It's not 90 minutes. And I desperately hope that we start getting this into our style of play, particularly now.
Look, that's the next phase of the development, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you've got to look at this as a development year. A year ago, we were on to our third manager of the season, and we were in that kind of meaningless bottom six, and we won a few games at the end of the season, but it was a terrible season. Jimmy showed us that he's capable of taking us on a journey. He showed us a style of play, he showed us a vision, he's connected with the fan base, and even if we lose the cup final and don't make it into third, it's been a season of progress. I think we're inconsistent because we've got a big squad. We've signed with that transfer bingo that Dave Cormack has enjoyed playing in the last few years has given us some really good players, but it's given us a lot of players. So that gives you a difficulty in finding a completely settled lineup. And we do have the youngest squad in the top six. So I think a bit of inconsistency is to be expected. But I mean, I guess you just see it in individual players, like someone like Clarkson, he has moments where you see why he was a top-rated prospect at one of the biggest clubs in the world. And then and I'm thinking back to the second half against Rangers, then he has 20 minutes where he just basically knocks every through ball or cross straight to the first man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we've got talent in the squad, but I mean Daba's a great example, but talent that's pretty inconsistent. And I think Jimmy's kind of job, and hopefully it will start to come together now in the next few weeks. But the job is, as you say, Ali, to try and get those 90-minute performances, get a settled team, get something just a bit more secure that we can grab onto. But I do think the raw materials are there.
Yeah. Jonathan, thank you so much. It's been absolutely brilliant having you on as always. And enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Ali.
Thanks, mate.
Yes.
Thank you so much, as always, Jonathan. Right, let's get the thoughts of the manager as he spoke at today's press conference.
Yeah, it's 3 points difference. Everybody knows the importance of the game. We're looking forward to play at home. So it's quite exciting part of the season right now, and I hope we play at home. They have done really well, but still it's just 3 points difference, and I think we're also in a good run now, and I think the supporters and the fans and the players, we are ready to play a good performance tomorrow and try to get the 3 points.
Yeah, he knows exactly how important tomorrow the crowd will be. Huge effort needed by the Red Army tomorrow. Right, let's start getting you guys on. Let's see how you are this evening. Can't be bothered says, hi Ali and fellow dandies. Massive game tomorrow. When we still have a chance of third, lose, it's gone. Would like to see Polvara get more minutes. I think Ante will play a part tomorrow. Not to begin with, but I think he will play a major part. Johnny Wilson says, good evening to everybody. Massive game tomorrow. A full 90-minute performance and we win this. Strong rumours we've snapped up Aussie winger Nicholas Milanovic for next season, as we have just discussed. Hugh Burns is here. Even a draw tomorrow is not going to cut it. I'd like to see the prep work start now for the cup final by adding a third midfielder. Polvaris at Morris's expense. Papa playing on the right of a front three. Interesting. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. Definitely a 6-pointer tomorrow. We need to play well and let's go on a run and see where that takes us. It's going to be a tough game, but we need to get momentum going ahead of the cup final, he says. Cameron Young is on. How are we doing, fella? He says, massive game tomorrow and it's a must-win game and 3 points and we'll be third again as long as other results go our way in terms of Dundee United. Thoughts on Nicholas Milanovic coming in the summer? Decent player he looks. Ryan is here. He's wishing everyone a good evening. Hopefully another brilliant result for the Dons tomorrow, he says. Colin Gale says it's a very important game tomorrow. I doubt Hibs will play a low block, so hopefully we'll get some opportunities to counter-attack. I would like to see Dabag getting a chance tomorrow. Baz Cruz says we need to get 90 minutes out of this team if we're going to get 3 points tomorrow. So often we play well in moments or stages. Hibs are a good side and we need to be at it. Grim Gibbs says, last Hibs game at Pittodrie, we were comfortable, then Ruby forgot to defend, and we just folded. Full 90-minute performance, please, or forget third place. Well, let me remind you of that corresponding fixture, because these are the stats, actually, from that game. So, as just mentioned, we enjoyed the bulk of possession, 64.4% possession. But, of course, individual errors on that day cost us the 3 points. 15 shots we had in total to their 7, of only which 2 were on target. It's going to have to be an awful lot better tomorrow. 33 touches in the box to their 18 last time around. And we outpassed them as well. Nearly double, 439 to 242. But at the end of the day, you know, you may argue that stats mean absolutely nothing. But sometimes when you look at stuff like that, only 2 shots on target throughout the 90 minutes, it does actually tell a story. So some improvements will be needed there. Right, so let's get back to you. Ian Fulton says, good evening, fellow dandies. Hope we're sharp out the blocks and force errors from, and hopefully an early goal to settle the side. Neil Mazon wishing you a good evening, as is Paul Donaldson. Hibs have been our bogey team this season. Hopefully that comes to an end tomorrow. It's a must win if we want to finish third. 37 Chewy is on, wishing how you all are. He's saying Fitzgandoon loons. Fitzgandoon. Not heard that for ages. Neil Sinclair says, good evening. How are we all doing? Excited for our lads smashing Hibs tomorrow. I hope so, he says. David Horn says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. It's a must-win game tomorrow. That appears to be the general consensus. Angela Hamilton is here. Hi, Angela. How are you? Must win tomorrow. Got every faith in the lads. Sheep on Fire says, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the season, Yimi has had a brilliant first season. It would be excellent where we were to finish third. It would be incredible were we then to lift the cup. I agree. Yeah, 37 Chewy says, no Esther, that's a bummer. Hopefully the back can do us a turn. So Esther's now out for the season. I don't know if you caught that in today's press conference. So unfortunately, he's going to be out for the season. Sivert Nielsen has been given some time off to go back to Norway. He will report back where they're going to be looking again closely at this injury and then taking a call on it from there. I'm not sure we'll see Helty back again. I'm not sure. Let's see. Paul Donaldson, this season, I mean. Paul Donaldson says, still roughly about 800 tickets left. Hopefully we can sell some tonight and have a biggest crowd as possible in the home end. Rodney J. Lenny's wishing you all a good evening, as is Kirstine. How are we doing? Hoping the team is full of confidence to beat Hibs tomorrow. So Martin Smith, in terms of tactics, he says we need to stop Cadden getting in crosses and stop Boyle running through the middle, and Hibs will play that as we are open to that ball over and through the middle. We are. Talking about Martin Boyle, you know, for me, he's their danger man tomorrow. 11 league goals this season, 5 assists. This season, his total shots at goal tally stands at 52. Been scoring for fun recently. So we need to be very careful of him. And you're absolutely right. We have to watch the balls over the top and we have to be switched on. Colin Gale is saying, if anybody's interested, that TNT are showing Nicholas Milanovic's club game tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. Hugh Burns said, yep, Doyle is the danger man, still a huge talent at 33. Neil was suggesting that maybe Polvara will start instead of Morris to give us a stronger midfield. Hugh Burns says, I think Shady Moore will be moving on given the news of this Aussie winger. I got to be honest, I don't think he will. I think who'll move on or who'll go back to his parent club is Urkels. That's what I think will happen. Bruce Struthers is here. Hi Bruce, how are you? He said, must win game tomorrow if we want third place. Neil McDonald said, our season has been a positive one, which could have been better. The spate of injuries hit us at crucial times. The January window came in time. Reality now, it's 6 finals to finish the season. West Coast Dawn says, hello all. Fair enjoyed the semi-final. Great buzz on that second goal. Let's hope we can replicate it tomorrow. Right, we'll come back to your comments in just a moment. But also don't forget that ABTV is also brought to you by Craig International, where the future of global procurement is very much at the forefront of their business strategy. With 10 offices strategically placed around the world to serve all 4 corners of the globe, procurement is very much safely in their hands. They have offices in the Middle East, in Southeast Asia, in Australia, in America, on the continent of Europe, and of course back home in Aberdeen. They are there to serve your procurement needs. And if you get a chance, please check out their brand new website. It's one of the best around. And if you are into your procurement, these guys are absolutely for you. So thank you to everybody at Craig International who continues to support ABTV. Well, let's get back to your comments. Dave B said, I would maybe try Polvara rather than Pape, but it's going to be tough and we need to start really well and not let them get their confidence up. David McLennan says, Hibs can't sit in tomorrow. They need to win as well. Good point. Let's not forget that, they're going for third. David Gold Rally Vid says, evening dandies. I'll be keeping an eye on the ongoings at Pittodrie from the Speyside stages tomorrow. Have a great time. Musical Box is saying that he would like to see more of Dante Polvara tomorrow. He comes back to say that the BBC say we only have a 36% chance of finishing above 5th. What, they got Mystic Meg back or something like that? Jensen Cool says, slightly worried for tomorrow. Hopefully Jimmy chooses the right team and we get the 3 points. Sugarland is suggesting that there's about 720 tickets left. Almost all in South Stand, X and Y. Graham Gibbs says, on performance alone system would change, and and we would drop a winger, possibly Shady, to fit in Polvara, but Talene won't change. Yeah, let's see. Sandra McPherson is here. She says, huge game tomorrow. Only one grandchild coming to the game. Oldest one is off to Irvine, playing with Formartine under-14s girls team, who have a cup game. So good luck to the under-14s. Praying for a win for both teams, she says. Baz Cruz is suggesting that he thinks we'll see Jamie McGrath at some point tomorrow. Yeah, again, you could be right. Ian McIntosh is on. He says, hi Ali, great channel. Thank you, mate. Anytime I watch Aberdeen, I'm impressed with Morris. Is it just coincidence he plays whenever I watch? Well, watch tomorrow, please, Ian, if you get a chance. I don't know how you're going to watch it, if you're going to go along or, you may have means of being able to watch it. I don't know. Neil Sinclair says, we've been longing for weeks and weeks now for a full 90-minute performance. Maybe tomorrow will be the day that it happens. The Mad Ferret says, late to the party tonight. Hopefully we can give the spare ribs a game tomorrow. Musical Box says, the Beeb were using an analysis company. Interesting. 36% chance of finishing above 5th. Okay. Right, if you are going tomorrow, don't forget to pick up your match day programme. I love this one, designed by Dolly Digital. Look at that, the old style, The Dawn. That was how the programme looked when I grew up, and I still kind of miss it. Obviously, I love what Malcolm Panton has done with the programme over the years. That's why it continues to win award after award after award for best programme. It's an absolute belter, full of really good stuff, as you can imagine. Just before we say goodbye, ABTV is delighted to announce a new sponsorship deal with Quipco International, a manufacturing and repair service company serving the oil and gas industry. With their headquarters based in Abu Dhabi, they are perfectly placed to offer a number of services and products to the Middle East. Right, on this day, back in 1984, on a horribly foggy night at Pittodrie, Aberdeen lost 1-0 to Porto in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final second leg, losing 2-0 on aggregate. The Dons missed the chance to become the first British side to successfully defend the trophy. Porto went on to the final where, if my memory serves me correct, they lost to Juventus, who I think played Manchester United in the other semi. Am I correct in saying that? So I posted about that game today on my socials, and there was a lot of talk about that the referee that night, the Romanian referee, that there was an alleged match fixing allegation put to him. Those allegations were investigated by UEFA, and they said that they cannot annul a game that was over 10 years old. This goes back, I think, to 1996, I think this happened. And nothing untoward was found. And even if you ask any of the Aberdeen players who played in that game, they said that there was nothing untoward going on. And on the night and over the two legs, they were quite simply beaten by a better team. Now, a wee story for you, just to indulge you for just a moment. First and foremost, I was at that game with some family friends and my brother and my dad. And it's the only game where I've ever caught the match ball, threw it straight back to Stuart McKimmie, quite magnificently, may I add, to begin another Dons attack. But what I'm hoping you might find of quite interest is that back in 1984, my father, my late father, as well as working out of Aberdeen Airport for small charter aviation companies, which mainly service the oil industry, he also had a tourism business where he ran a train every Wednesday and every Sunday called the Northern Bell, which ran from Aberdeen to Keith. It then diverted to a very small single-track branch line, which he opened after it had been laid dormant for nearly 30 years, which ran all the way to Dufftown, where the Glenfiddich distillery was. So Dad ran that train for a number of years. It won a number of industry awards. And for the final, Dad was so confident after the first leg that he actually organised a fan train to take the fans all the way to Basel in Switzerland. The train was going to go from Aberdeen to Felixstowe, from Felixstowe to... Now, where was it going? I can't remember. I can't remember where the train was going to on the continent, but then it was to catch an adjoining train all the way to Basel. Dad took enough deposits to fill the train. All deposits, of course, were paid back, but Dad would have made in profit just from that business venture 60 grand. And he only told me that story when I was in my mid-20s. So nearly 15 years after the event. And I couldn't understand why he only told me that story when I was about 24 or 25. Because he said to me, now that you are of this age, you fully understand and appreciate the value of money. Whereas an 11 or 12-year-old, you wouldn't have understood it really. And then it all made sense, because when we got home from Pittodrie that night, my mother greeted my father at the front door and she burst into tears. And I just remember her grabbing my dad and hugging him, and they hugged for what felt like an age. And it really confused me. I know that we'd just been put out the Cup Winners' Cup and it was a hugely devastating result. But I didn't think that my mum was that bothered about the result. But obviously I thought she was, and I was really confused by it. And then obviously 15 years later, my dad tells me the story and it made perfect sense. And a couple of folk actually today got in touch to say that they had actually paid their deposits to go on that train. Right, let's see if there's any last minute comments. Paul Donaldson says, I did the Keith to Dufftown train a few years ago when back home visiting family. It's a really good day out. Oh, we loved it. We had so much fun on that train. It was my first girlfriend on that train. Ooh, get me. Ian McIntosh says, what a team Aberdeen had in the 80s. I honestly think Willie Miller was as good as defender as Franco Baresi. Ian, may I correct you? He was better than Franco Baresi. Keith McPherson is on, wishing you all a good evening. Peter Lee says, I was at that game, gutted. Oh dear, never forget it. Marty Farty has just logged on. He said, going to restart this now. You will, mate, because we're going to say goodbye. So, all that's left to say, as always, at this juncture, as we wish you a good evening, it's just the very best of luck to the lads tonight. Oh my God, come on boys, surely to God we can put in a 90-minute performance. And please, dear God, don't start the game like how you started it last week, because they'll punish us. You have to come out the blocks quickly tomorrow. None of this waiting 15, 20 minutes. Dear God, please don't let that happen tomorrow. Be at it. Be absolutely at it. Get it over 90 minutes. Win tomorrow. It's huge. And it really sets us up. It really does. We all know the incentive. We all know. If you're going, have a fantastic time tomorrow. And I'll see you again on Sunday night for the review show. Take good care of yourselves. Have a fantastic weekend. Stand free.